84 pack is finally here. Something we knew was coming ever since the 84 wand was issued a couple years ago. We figured, hey, the HasLab pack is built already. They don't have to do any more tooling on the core unit. They just need to make some adjustments and changes. And that's what we did. And we got the 84 pack. Cheaper than the HasLab pack. It's out there on par and competing with the Spirit pack, the full-size pack. Much better quality, much better features on it. You're going to like it a lot more. Some differences here. The HasLab pack came with brackets for mounting on an LC1. This does not. So you're going to have to get those on your own. But it does have straps, and it has all the holes that you can connect all the components to, just like you did for the HasLab pack to mount everything onto it. Now, you can see it came in a trunk, just like the other one did. It's going to be a little bit different. They're going to have more of an 84 theme to it. Same with the wand. It kind of came a little bit newer looking. Then it wasn't as weathered as much because it wasn't from 40 years later, roughly. So we have this nice box to it. I don't want to spend too much time in the box. It just looks like a steamer trunk. You got some fun little stickers on there. You have Stay Puft Marshmallow. You have Camp Wakanda. That's really it. But the goodness is inside the box here. So we're going to be getting into that. We're going to be taking a look at mounting it on an LC1 frame. We're going to be looking at the Afterlife pack to show you what's changed between the two here. And then we're going to be looking at a scratch built 84 pack so you can see what's sort of missing between this and what should be an 84 pack, or at least close to a screen pack. Of course, there's a modding community out there where a lot of you guys are going to make changes to it. But this hopefully gives you an indication, if you haven't received yours yet, what you're going to need to or what you're going to want to change on it. So a lot of nerdy content heading our way. I'm dressed for the occasion. Let's get into it. All right, before we get into details, just very quickly want to show you what we're working with here. We have our 84 pack in the middle from Hasbro, just released. On the right here, we have the HasLab pack, Spangler's Afterlife pack, based on the hero pack in the film. We're going to be taking a look at that a little bit. And then to my left, I have a scratch-built pack on an officially licensed Max shell. So it is technically an officially licensed pack. This is a scratch-built Spangler's 84 Proton Pack. It's going to be a little bit different than some other hero Proton Packs, but there are some core elements that I will show you that resemble through all of them. So these were going to be the ones we're looking at. Now, I mounted this on an LC1 frame. However, I found out it does not fit a vintage LC1 frame, as you can see right here in the image. The screw holes are off at the bottom because the vintage LC1 frame has the little cutouts a little bit higher than the modern Rothco LC1 frame that you can get on Amazon, you can get anywhere. So it won't work because basically the motherboard on the back of the 84 pack from Hasbro is the same exact one from the Afterlife pack, which was made to work with the Rothco pack because the Rothco pack was used in Afterlife. So that makes sense. So they didn't modify that for the 84 pack. It's just the same one. Maybe, I mean, it would cost more money to modify it. It would also, it's less accessible to track down a vintage LC1 pack made in the late 70s, like used in the film, like we have over here on this one. But yeah, so it's about accessibility. It's about having to retool it. So they just went with what people are going to end up probably buying offline, not knowing the difference between different frames. But you want an LC1 and not an LC2. But you get that off Amazon or through the Rothco store, anywhere, and it will work just fine. Now it doesn't come with brackets. I bought some off Etsy, so a lot of people are making brackets. But unless someone designs a weird like S bracket that will zigzag around, there's no way to mount a vintage LC1 frame on this. Hasbro does give you some straps if you want to use an LC1 or any kind of Alice frame with it. I recommend, these are replica straps. I got off GB Fans. You could get those that look more in the 84 tune than the Hasbro ones that look more generic. Or if you want to get some vintage LC1 straps off eBay and pay for them, you can do that too. They will work on the Alice frame. So this is basically what we're working with here. So I'm going to bring you in, give you a little bit of a closer look at the HasLab, I keep wanting to say HasLab, but the Hasbro 84 pack. And then we're going to talk what's different between all of them. So here is a quick pan of our 84 pack. You can see all these great details Hasbro has on here captured. Again, it's based on the Afterlife pack. So you will see it's roughly the same size, a lot of the same features, and we're going to point out just some of the differences that they made when changing up the paint schemes or other parts in general. But this is what you're going to be working with, and we'll give you a run demo when it's on in just a second. But let's look through some of the similarities and differences of an 84 pack compared with the Afterlife pack over there. One big thing that glared me when I saw it at Comic-Con in San Diego last year, and it still haunts me to this day, is this right here. I don't know if you can see that red pointer, but the bellows is wrong. The screw on the outside of the bellows was on the 89 packs moving forward, and then you can see it on the Afterlife pack on the left here, but it should not be on the pack. This is what a 84 bellows looks like. Here's all of them together side by side. So basically, Hasbro just took the bellows from Afterlife, changed the paint a little bit, and slapped it on here. They didn't bother to just remove this little screw part, and that would have made it more of an 84 pack. So a little frustrating on there. The next thing that we kind of caught wind of was the ribbon cable. So you can see here in the photo, it's sort of 80% size compared to what a ribbon cable should be. It's almost like the mini Spirit ribbon cable, a little bigger than that. But if you look side by side here, you can see what a full-size ribbon cable should look like. So it's a little disappointing. We got sort of a mini ribbon cable put in there. And I guess I didn't really notice it much on the Afterlife one, but maybe that one was a little slimmed down as well, more of a spectral strip on that one. But yeah, so kind of a mini ribbon cable. There's no weld up here in the top part. What I mean by that is you can look at the weld here on my 84 pack compared to the Afterlife pack. There were different welds. There was the thin weld was the Spangler weld. There was the what's called the fat weld, or the ugly weld, which was more synonymous on the 89 packs, but we saw them on some of the other packs. So no weld there. Another difference we saw here is the switch, which really glared out back in here, and you can see pictures side by side with Afterlife. So Afterlife had a switch to turn on the pack. The 84 pack did not. The 84 pack was turned on by the wand. So I'm really not understanding like why they did that, but I guess again, they're keeping the pack very similar to the 89 pack to avoid the retooling. But yeah, it's just really weird. Some more smaller details here. You can see these little loom covers for the wire. So these exactly match the Afterlife pack, but the actual ones used on the 84 pack were just some split loom. So side by side, you can see here they went with the weird springy ones that were used on the Afterlife packs, as opposed to this little split loom that was used on the 84 pack. It's not a major hassle to get this stuff, pretty cheap. You get it on Amazon. So if you wanted to upgrade, you could easily do that. Another glaring thing that hit us ever since the HasLab hack is the connectors that they have the V-hook on for the mounting the wand. Now, you can see here side by side, they used a female connector on the wand, which is accurate, and then a female connector on the pack, which is not accurate. It should be a female to male, and it should look like it does here on the far right. That is the proper connector. That's going to give you a better grip. Now, the way these ones mount, a lot of people had issues with the HasLab pack where they would constantly fall off because they're not really gripping well onto this thing. Now, they do mount on here, and I'll show you here with the 84 wand. They do mount on here, but it's a little bit more complicated than it should be, and I'm kind of worried about it falling off. Yeah, you can see it just doesn't want to mount on there too well, but there you go. It does mount on, and it can mount on, but you're probably going to want to upgrade that so you get more of the authentic experience. It really just kind of falls off. It doesn't really hold well, and that is an issue of the design. I don't understand why they didn't fix that in the reboot with the 84 pack, but they did not. Some other weird things that I noticed is right here, the connectors for the wires here. This one mimics the Afterlife one, big fat ugly one, but they did change the coloring a little bit, but it should really look like this nice trim gray connector with the brass ends on it. It's kind of a shame they didn't fix that either. Not really a huge fan of the big ugly covers, but yeah, I mean, to their credit, they did a lot right. They took away the ugly copper parts you see on the Afterlife pack here that were, additions made with that generation of the pack. They got rid of that little yellow strip on with the additional wiring. So they did take it back to an 84 design, removing the modifications made with the 21 or the Afterlife pack. They made the crank knob gray instead of black, so it should be gray. It has an independent little handle that spins in addition to the big one. So they did all that right. I'm glad. They moved the mount on the iron arm to the end cap as opposed to in the middle like it was in the Afterlife pack and the 89 pack. So it's a completely different retooled iron arm. And they even have screw holes you can see at the end here, which should be there, as opposed to the one on the Afterlife pack, which is completely smooth. So they did make that change, which is great. So they did go for some of the details. They just missed some of the bigger ones, which was a little frustrating. I mean, of course, the wand is completely different. You got your, and we'll show you all the wands in just a minute, but you have your 84 wand right here, if you could see this. Completely different grips, completely different, I think that's mostly it, is all they changed was the grips on it compared to the Afterlife one. Unfortunately, the 84 one is not widely available, so if you missed out on buying it when the pack was announced, you probably don't have it right now unless you're paying a ton of money for it in the secondary market. So hopefully Hasbro releases that wand again, and then we can get it. Now, I know a lot of other collectors have harped on one thing, is the weathering. This is a very clean pack as opposed to the 21 Afterlife pack, which is, in fairness, has been around for like 40 years, so it would have a lot more weathering on it. The 84 packs in the film were not that weathered. There was a little bit of weathering, but they were brand new. They were created at the time the Ghostbusters just started, so why would there be a tremendous amount of weathering on them? But people love weathering on their packs, and they probably want to weather it up a lot, and you could do that with some, there's like an artificial like steel look or a gray look that make it look like it's the aluminum's bleeding through, and then just other weathering paints you could get out there. So it's something you could easily do. One thing that did bother me is this guy right here. So they used an R331 clipboard, which I think was on maybe like, was it Ray's pack or something like that? But most of the packs use the 701 clipboard instead, which is right here, and you can see them side by side. You know, you can see that copper in there. The top part comes out. It's got a little hole in the side of it. They also use those in the wands, but again, on the 84 wand, they went with the R331, which they had on the Afterlife pack. So again, I think this was saving on tooling. But I see some screws here, and I feel like you could get under it and you could remove this, so you could probably put a proper one on there if you wanted to. You probably have to get underneath to mount it inside the pack though, but that one seems to be a pretty easy upgrade. So weird again that they kept this, but I think they were just trying to cut down on tooling costs and avoid creating anything new. So that's what they went for in this instance. So that is basically all the, not every single feature of the pack, but what we want to do is check it out. And let me see if I could, nope. So you gotta, if it shuts off for a while, you have to manually turn it on. Otherwise it should be controlled through the wand. Let me see if I can turn it off here. So it should sync up and turn off with the wand. Let's see if it does it. There it goes. So like a true 84 pack, you should be able to turn it on with the wand essentially. So it does respond just like the HasLab pack responds. And then you got your light sequence and everything here in both in the power cell and then in the cyclotron. Now you could probably rip the diffusers out if you wanted to change that. Same with the lens, if you wanted to get the diffuser out there. It's a little cloudy, essentially. We're taking a little closer so you could see that, but you could see the diffusers on there, and it gives it a different appearance as opposed to 84 pack. And I'll turn mine on here. So these didn't have a switch, but there was a little board underneath that allowed these to essentially carry power, and they would turn off after an activity after a couple minutes too. So there we go. So the sequence you can see over here, a little bit different. It's a single light instead of triple lights. You know, it's going to be a different tempo. You could adjust the speed on. The lens is a little clearer, no diffusers. So a little different than what they want with the HasLab pack. So what else is kind of interesting is the inside. So I'll give it a second here and I'll let you guys see the inside of the pack compared to the... Now we're at the guts. So you can see here a little bit different between the two. Let's move this out of the way. I want to say a lot more detailing on the inside of the Afterlife pack than on the inside of the 84 pack. And obviously they added more and it's a little bit weathered, but you can still take the core out if you wanted to. You can unscrew this here and then take out the core of the cyclotron. Do any modding that you want to do. Wow, this is really long screw. But you could still do that and see all the detailing underneath, just like you could with the original. So that kind of stayed the same. The other thing that they changed down here is there's no switches on the inside. that would normally be right in here, but they are over here. So there is the capability of changing on the Afterlife pack. You have the ability to switch to an 84 sound. So that was just something you could do. But yeah, that obviously you don't need that on this pack. And I mean, why would you want to? Because you already had an 84. And then they have all the same little, I forgot what those are called, the scrubbers in there and all that. Just exactly like the other pack. So although we never saw the 84 pack opened up, we do get to see the Afterlife pack opened up, and we get to see all the components inside. So they kept that the same, not necessary, but again, it was the same tooling, so it made sense that they kept it the same. But that is essentially the other component here of the modern, or the newest version, called the 84 pack. The other thing I noticed that they didn't really do is, let me see if I can zoom you out here, is take the time to like put the little coverings on the hose here. So there would be little electrical tape wrapped around it. That was on the 84 pack, and it was on a lot of the Hero packs. They had electrical tape marked throughout the hose. Now they gave us this hose. It's obviously different than the Afterlife hose because it doesn't have that little breathing tube on the end there and stuff like that, but they didn't put any of the electrical tapes. Very easy for you to get that rubber fused tape to put it on yourself. So that's an easy mod that you can make, but it's something that Hasbro didn't include on that. That was on the 84 Hero packs. They also didn't use split loom. It was split loom. That was the loom connecting the hose. They used the solid loom. Again, that gives it more form, but you could always, put something in there to give it form yourself. And that would be another just sort of instance where they didn't go for full accuracy, but they went with, I think, more consumer, reliability, because the split loom was very difficult to work with in that respect. So that is the inside of the pack. Why don't we turn all the packs on and we can see how they all sort of sound and function. All right, if you can hear me over the hum, we have all our packs on. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit because it is getting a little loud. So another thing I noticed is the packs only run for a little bit of time without any activity, and they have an auto shut-off mode, and they go into shutdown. Whereas if you build your own pack, it can run infinitely as long as you have battery. So that is just a little, turn that down a little bit more. That is just a little bit of a concern if you're trying to walk around a convention and not constantly like push the intensify button to keep it active. But yeah, I mean, these are all your packs. The other thing I missed to mention here is there's no heat sink on this one, so they did take it off the side, so don't worry about that. But yeah, this is your Hasbro 84 pack compared to your Afterlife pack. A lot of similarities, built on the same exact shell. They kept all the flaws on there. Did make some changes to make it more 84-like, but it is still missing some big things like that bellows there is kind of frustrating. And they did not fix that V-hook, although they had the chance to do it. The stickers aren't also that great. Was noticing some of them coming up already, so I might either go and get a new sticker set from GB Fans. I recommend they get a good sticker set there. Moby's on Etsy makes a good sticker set. I think Max might have a sticker set too. I'm not sure if it's available outside of the pack though. But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's pretty great 84 pack. It's around $300, which is just $50 more than a Spirit pack, and you're getting a lot more functionality with it, which is really, really awesome. So just something to think about compared with the other packs that are out there. And yeah, it's drawn a lot from this HasLab pack, which we expected. So is there a possibility for upgrading it to an 89 pack by changing the, I mean, you don't need to change the bellows at this point. Changing the ribbon cable out to a spectral strip and just going back to this version of the iron arm. You can even see the cutout on the top where they had the iron arm previously, and they kind of filled it in with something to keep, I guess, the piece still the same, but slight adjustments. So tooling is very spot on to this tooling, just with some minor modifications. So something to think about. Again, it's only going to be and excuse me, I have to turn this off. It's only going to be as powerful with the sound or everything as you would expect. The sound kit is still on the top here, just a one speaker, and you can control the volume with the crank handle here, just the crank knob, just like you can with the older one or a scratch built one with a potentiometer on it. So just something to think about. But again, the price point on this was $300, which is great for going into a Proton Pack. I think this was closer to 400 or 500 when we were finding it in the HasLab. It came with a stand, which is regrettable. This one does not come with a stand. This is an awesome Proton Pack stand. So this came with a stand. Came with some other fun things, the slime, the marshmallow goo, some of the mini puffs, all that kind of stuff. I'm using just a guitar stand for this one. Same for this pack here. So you got your varying price points. Like I said, 300 is awesome right now. This was a lot more. This was about 2,500 to build from scratch. It's all, like I said, it's all metal and fiberglass. So it's a construct of really high-end parts, and it takes a lot of time to hand cut and make all this stuff. And it weighs like almost 70 pounds. So big difference between this one that is a lot lighter and then a full like screen accurate Proton Pack. But it depends on what kind of what kind of nerd you are, essentially how far you want to go into it. But it's pretty good quality. I'm happy with it. There's just some parts on it that I want to change, and there's parts that are out there you can easily get. I think GB Fans makes the little arm, and you can buy one of their metal bellows and be able to put it on there to completely switch that out and fix it. And then, like I said, you could probably mount a different kind of clipboard valve on there, and then clean up a couple of the other parts that I think are just a shame that they didn't fix when they had the chance, like this V-hook here. So you could easily get some V-hook kits to mount on there, and varying degrees of screen accuracy. But this is metal. You could just get the metal male part, put it on there, and you have an easier time with your wand. So that is it. That is your tale of the 3 packs here, just to show you a little bit in comparison. But it is pretty close to a full-size pack. I mean, I didn't measure it, but it looks pretty close to the proper dimensions. It's around, I think, 14 inches wide and like 25 or 26 long or something like that. That's what it should be. So it's pretty close to, it's either 100% or just shy of it. But they had access to the pack when the film was being made for Afterlife, so they were able to take all these dimensions and try to replicate that. So this is built on that shell, so they should ideally be the same size. So that is your Hasbro 84 Proton Pack. So I threw a lot of information at you guys, a lot of nerdy details because I'm part of the building community. I get really hung up on some of the finer details, spend a lot of time in the Ghostbusters reference library looking these things up, watching the screen, getting the timing right, getting all the looks right, getting all the parts right, getting all the vintage parts, getting everything down there. So for me, I'm a little bit more of a stickler on the details. You might be a little bit more casual. So if you just want to pack because you always wanted to cosplay as a Ghostbuster, and this is an awesome opportunity, this is the best mass-produced pack on the market. I think this is way better than the Spirit Pack. It's going to give you the opportunity to modify it to make it even more screen accurate or to customize it however you want to customize it. So that opportunity exists as well, which is why I love it. Huge modding community out there. I get that as well. I would say at minimum, though, you're going to want an Alice frame, which you can get from Amazon for about 80 bucks, $75, depending on where you buy from. Just Rocco LC1 Alice frame. And then that will be able to mount on there. You're going to have to get all the hardware. I suggest going on Etsy and finding one of the sellers that make HasLab brackets. They give you the brackets. Some of them give you the brackets and the bolts as well, and the spacers. So that will make it really easy for you to put everything on there. I'm not going to recommend anyone because there's a ton of people that make them. So I'm sure right now there's going to be exploded with even more people making them as the 84 pack is reaching collectors' hands. Now you're going to want the 84 wand, which is a shame because it is not available currently. I'm hoping Hasbro restocks it. I do not understand why they didn't restock it sooner, knowing that the pack was coming out and so many people were buying the pack. Maybe they were waiting to see how it did, but you can pair it with the Afterlife wand. It should still work. I didn't test it, but it's functionally the same wand, or at least all the electronics in it are. So, but you're going to want an 84 wand to go with an 84 pack. So look out for that. It's a shame again that they didn't just include them as a set. Could even just increased it $100 and people would have paid it. But $300 is not a bad price considering it's $250 for the Spirit Halloween one, and this is much better. So go grab it. It's still available. I believe I just checked. It's still available on Pulse, so you get yours at a retail price and not the crazy markup we're starting to see online, which makes no sense when it's still available at Pulse. Go grab yourself a uniform, whether you want to go more accurate like from Magnolia over in New Zealand, or if you want to grab one of the flight suits that you can find on Amazon that are pretty close, and just mix it up for your next event, your next cosplay. Yeah, I mean, this is exciting time to be a Ghostbusters fan. It's the 40th anniversary of Real Ghostbusters. So we're anticipating more figures from Hasbro in the real Ghostbusters line, like we saw coming out for SDCC, and from Mondo, and I'm sure from other folks as well. So great year to get your pack and join in on all the Ghostbusters fun. That's all for this time. We're going to have more Ghostbusters coverage. It's one of the top 3 things we love doing on this channel: Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles, and robots. So it will be part of our continuing coverage. We are doing our Real Ghostbusters series every month. We're doing another wave of the line, all 10 waves, plus a bonus look at some other Kenner Ghostbusters products that are part of the mainline waves. So keep tuning back for that. Subscribe so you could watch all our coverage of SDCC this year. I'm sure we're going to see some awesome reveals and some first chance for us to get our hands on some new products as well. That's all for this time. Like, subscribe, and follow. See you guys next time.